Good early morning, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. It's August 4th, 2024. And as soon as I started to record this, my phone is wiggling, and an astute subscriber said it's because I'm being hit with microwaves, and that's what's affecting the phone. Of course, it just stopped. And you know what? For all you people out there that are worried about how you got on the list, why you got on the list, and whatever, check out my little painting here. Watch listed. I pissed off the neighbor's dog. That's all it takes. All it takes is pissing off the wrong person. And let me tell you something. Since I started my YouTube channel, I have been pissing off a lot more people. I don't really know who... Well, no, that's not true. I pissed off an awful lot of lawyers in New Jersey. But anyway... I am going to read, or start to read, a book called How to Deal with and Defeat Gang Stalkers. It's by Chomi, I'll spell it, Chomi Prag, Prag. I don't know if this is the correct name. This non-fictional book is written by Chomi Prag, author and attorney, who is a targeted individual and an expert in the field of gang stalking. She decided to write this book in order to show others, through her own experiences, how to stand up and fight against the pathetic tactics and people that gang up on a single person. Without judging why an individual is being targeted, since her opinion is that no one should be bullied by a group of people for any reason. She provides emotional support, wisdom, and non-legal as well as legal tactics to survive the growing phenomenon of gang stalking, also known as group stalking, organized stalking, and mobbing, and to actually beat the perpetrators at their own stupid games. And that's exactly what we all want to do. So in this chapter 1, the beginning, she writes, as I sit here and write this book, I'm surrounded by a bunch of haters, envious of whom and what I am, people who don't like what I have to say, and people who don't know how to mind their own damn business. Oh my goodness, she sounds just like me. It's called The Place I Live, and quite honestly, it's a joke. For a long time, ever since I moved over to where I currently live, and even at the last place I lived, I was a targeted individual. In this book, my experiences will focus on my current living situation. I won't name names yet. In time, young grasshopper, in time. I know most people involved and I'm still getting down to business. I can say the landlord, the owners, the neighbors next door, across the hall, downstairs, as well as the so-called caretaker have participated with the landlord to gang stalk, as well as the Milwaukee School of Engineering. I've let others know who's involved in case anything happens. If you're ready to get down to business, then this is the book for you. Stay tuned for further information as this place that you will not want to get involved with, because they actually attempt to curtail your rights as a tenant, harass you with other tenants, and the police. They let strangers into your place, police without a warrant, and ultimately think that they, as well as other junky tenants over there, and are above the United States Constitution and the law. This situation is completely ridiculous, and it goes so far that my family and my life is threatened. I'm sure that sounds familiar to all you guys. These people actually went so far as to hack my computer and deleted my book from it. I was able to recover something. Therefore, the first publication and even the second revisions of this book weren't good, since they weren't edited properly and they were cut short because I was writing under extreme coercion. Another violation of my right to freedom of speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Also, the conditions, physical conditions, have been horrible to write under, since I can't write at the place I live. My editor and I figured that they felt threatened that the book, that we better put something out there rather than nothing. Even this revision is written under extreme time constraints. something no writer in the United States should have to suffer. I was able to retrieve some parts of the book. But understand, these people actually took it so far as to screw up the formatting of the book as well. So there are no page numbers, and I can't guarantee there ever will be. She's right, there are no page numbers on this book. Okay, let's see. There were other formatting problems there too. They constantly track my computer and think they know everything my editor and I know, since they've been conducting illegal wiretapping, eavesdropping, and hacking of my computer. It's very normal during these kinds of circumstances to want to give up what you're doing. These gang stalkers will contact others to try to manipulate and take advantage of you during a time period when you're weak, when they think you're weak. Remember, you control your state of mind. People that take advantage of people during times when others are ganging up on you are pathetic. Sure, even creditors and mortgage companies will try to do the same. Don't cave in. They're in on it too. It's normal to feel like you want to give up. Don't. It's normal when you're under extreme amounts of pressure to get upset and angry, even at your child or children in your family, even yourself. Brush it off. Take a step back and breathe. God is there to help, but you must help yourself first. Take the first step and God will be there. Cheaters never win. It may look like they do in the beginning, or to other people, even to themselves. Don't worry, ya, as my mother would say. Do what you gotta do. You've got one life to live. Do it the way you want and think best. If you need emotional support, I'm here to offer that. I invite you to like my Facebook pages to stay updated as well. And she's got 2 Facebook pages here. You know, facebook.com. Author Chomi Prag is one of them. And Chomi Prag Law Offices. So remember, this is an attorney who is targeted, who's writing a book. And let me just see if there is a date here, because she did say the formatting was all screwed up. I just want to see if there is a date on this book somewhere. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Printed in the United States. I don't see a date on here. Let me see. Nope, there's no date on this book. If I find it, I will post it in the description section. Okay, so in actuality, it started a while back. Let me explain. I decided to challenge a large non-profit corporation for a young man who filed bankruptcy. I'm an attorney. I always end up helping the little guy. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I decided to go to law school to help people. I mean, of course I have to make money too, but my intent was never to become an attorney to be rich. Well, most of the attorneys I know are greedy little effers. I decided to help a client who hired me to handle his bankruptcy case. He was given a loan by the Milwaukee School of Engineering to go to school there. What I ended up unearthing was that this loan from the Milwaukee School of Engineering was totally and completely unnecessary in terms of this young man attending the school there, meaning he already had more than enough in other student loans and paid the Milwaukee School of Engineering in full for his tuition and everything else before signing a loan to them. Then, to make matters worse, after signing the loan to the Milwaukee School, he paid for nothing at their school. And the Milwaukee School didn't even give the kid the money from the loan back to him as a refund so that he could spend it. This was basically a phantom loan. We argued that this student loan was dischargeable in bankruptcy, and guess what? The law supported us. I found a loophole, which is what attorneys are damn well supposed to do. My client was extremely intelligent, good-looking, sharp-dressed, and most of all wasn't afraid of challenging authority, and guess what? Neither was, and neither am I. The thing with the court system and judges is that it's very political, and it's all about who has the most money. I'm a woman, so I'm not part of the good old boys network. I don't have political connections. I run a small law office. My family isn't college educated, and I basically come from the street. I'm not a millionaire, and all I care about was this young man was to get rid of his loan, because as far as we were both concerned, it was fraudulent. There are two attitudes of thought about this case. One might ask, well, why did he sign it then? Yes, he did sign it, it's true. The other school of thought is, why did the Milwaukee school present him with a loan that he didn't need, and that which he wasn't even going to, they weren't even going to give back to him? Good point. They should know better. My client and I took the school of thought that the Milwaukee school should have presented him with a loan that didn't pay for anything at their school, which they didn't give back to him to spend. Hey, he's an 18-year-old kid. He's inexperienced. He didn't come from an educated family, and he trusted the Milwaukee School of Engineering. So he did whatever they said. Most people do. They don't question anything, and they don't question authority. I've always been bullied, ever since I went to elementary school. I'm also a minority, since I'm half Korean and half white. I have a strange name. I was mostly bullied by black boys in elementary school, so being bullied isn't something new to me. I've been used to people picking up on me since I was a little kid. Gang stalking is worse than bullying, though, because gang stalkers use illegal means to gain private information about you. They eavesdrop. They send people to eavesdrop. They tap and bug your landline, your phone, your cell phone, your emails, your faxes relentlessly. They attack you by getting people in authority positions like the police to help them. Bullying is more open. You know your attackers, and at some point you can get away from them. Not with gang stalking. You may not be able to point your finger directly at a person or persons. It won't be straightforward, and the tactics they use may or may not include social networking or the internet to badmouth you. Gang stalking is more secretive and more advanced than bullying, since electronic surveillance may also be used. Anyway, back to the law. I can tell you one way that some judges get around and skirt around the substance of the law is to find ways to say you as an attorney didn't do this or that the right way. Some judges will even cause you to lose a case or dismiss it by saying there was a procedural error or some other error or errors, and toss the case right out the court. Judges are friends with other judges, so filing an appeal can be a joke too. That's why I didn't file one here when I brought my neighbors to court. It's just easier to say the lower judge was right, especially when they used to sit together on the same court, or still do. Like the district court judge who used to sit on the lower court as a bankruptcy judge, or the appellate judge that used to sit on the same court as a trial judge. Come on, these people go golfing together. They belong to the same country clubs. They get coffee together. Their wives are friends, etc., etc. Procedural error, quote unquote, is the simplest way for a judge to dismiss your case or find a way to get really upset with you. Also, if the judge doesn't like you and you correct the judge as to how he's wrong, they can and will sock you and your client with hefty fines. Oh yeah, they're little spiteful little fuckers. Sorry for the French. It's the easiest way for them to side with their quote-unquote friends and protect their egos. My client and I found out the hard way that the United States court system isn't for people who don't have money. Rather, it's made for large corporations. The case became a fiasco and a big joke, but we'll save that for another day. Even afterward, the unfairness of court commissioners and the Wisconsin Judicial Commission became all too obvious. Also, for all you people that live in Wisconsin, obviously this case was heard there. The Wisconsin state court system isn't any better. I've actually had a judge deny myself, my editor, and the public access to the crooked Milwaukee County Deputy Sheriff's personnel records, which the public is more than entitled to see since they pay these officers' salaries. I guess the only Milwaukee Journal Sentinel can get the disciplinary personnel records under the Wisconsin Open Records Law, not the little people. Of course, the judge claimed there was some procedural error in our request. Even the request had a procedural error. The easiest thing for them to say in order to toss the case and get it out of their courtroom. And then she leaves a URL link here to the actual dispute. You'll come to find that some judges want to make decisions, or they don't want to get in the middle if you're fighting for someone that doesn't have political clout. Instead, they'll want to force you to settle the case, when that isn't what claimants should be forced to do. You do have a right to duke your case out in court if you choose to. After all, After all, you do pay a filing fee to get the case into court and all. Some judges are afraid of big corporations and companies, and they're used to dealing with prosecutors on a regular basis. Since they see them sitting in the court every day, when you come in and start telling it like it is and know the law, people in the court system, the judges, deputies, clerks, etc., don't like you. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I pissed off a lot of people in New Jersey. Chapter 2, when I started to notice it. After what happened with the Milwaukee school case, I started experiencing strange things like people and the same vehicles following me around, white utility vans just showing up and parking outside where I lived or stayed. My cell phones were acting funny. There were clicking noises around me, typical and classic signs that I was under surveillance. My husband saw it too. Now I admit that before the surveillance started, I was hanging around with some people who may consider the unsavory type. But I sort of fell apart after the Milwaukee case because I became so disappointed and so disenchanted with the court system that I didn't have much, if any, of a support system. It's easy to tell people what to do, but that's not real support. Real support is going through the painful experience, at least somewhat, with the person who is suffering. I didn't have that. Everyone was busy. They all had their own life, their own family. They were married. Basically, they weren't a victim themselves, so why did they care? They really didn't. I was so naive about the court system. So the case woke me up. Lord knows court may be fair sometimes and not other times. You may get a judge that does well for your case, or you may not. It's a roll of the dice. There are other ways besides going to court to get that justice. I'm not saying you can't go to court, but what I'm saying is that if you don't have money to hire an attorney, don't bother. And if you don't have money to keep going with the case, like the court filing fees to keep paying an attorney, you may be out of luck in the end. Generally speaking, judges don't like pro bono clients. You're a pain in their rear. Oh, that's for sure. Because just remember, when you file pro se, it's your only case. You only have one case and you know it inside and out. Attorneys have many cases that they don't know inside and out. And sometimes they get things screwed up, and they've got a schedule, they've got court hearings and stuff. So they've got a lot on their plate where when you file pro se, it's your only lawsuit. That's why you're a pain in their butt. I worked for the Milwaukee school client pro bono. I didn't even get paid from his case. I fought a huge corporation for free because they ripped my client off, and I saw that. Yes, of course I was thinking that I could turn it into a huge case for me too. It was an opportunity. It would have been a huge professional step for me, a huge financial opportunity, and I would have created a huge precedence that would have helped other people. I had people around me warn me to not keep going, but I like standing up for what's right, and I still do. And that was number one in my mind. It always is. I won't change that for anyone or anything, or whatever. And if you're like that, neither should you. I don't regret my decisions in this life, and neither should you. There's nothing to be ashamed of, no matter what. That's how people control you and how they can blackmail you. Forget that. The only thing you have to make right is with God in the end. For whatever reason you're being targeted is none of my concern. I could care less. In my opinion, it is never right for a group of people to get together against one person. A fair fight is one-on-one, and as my husband says, out in the open. But we know what gang stalkers don't do. That's because they are weak. Yeah, they're weak. They're little coward weenies. They're little weenies and bun babes. You know, little bun babes that drive around in the summertime with their bun up in the air, and a little ponytail, and their glasses, and no makeup, and they look like... Oh, tell me about it. Oh, goodness. They also use underhanded tactics and illegal means to obtain information about you, to harass you. Most of all, it's never one-on-one. And I've been saying that for a while, folks. You know, one-on-one, these people would be lost. They would be gone. But they only operate in a bunch, right? And remember, they've got the handler. They report to their handler, too. Okay, so let's see. So they use underhanded. Most of all, it's never one-on-one. Remember, that's how strong and threatening you are to them. They are so weak, they can't even fight you alone. You're the strong one. You are in control. I'm not saying all judges are bad people, nor am I saying all police are bad people, nor am I saying all neighbors are in on it or are bad people. Most people are weak individuals who can't stand up on their own, and they have to join in on the crowd. That's not me. It's never been. So I don't understand people that gang up on people. As a matter of fact, if anyone ever approached me to join in and gang up on a person, I would straight up say no. And to be frank, would be offended that they even approached me with it. It means you have a bad character. Yep, I feel the same way. But there are a lot of crooked people who have no ethics and honesty and no backbone. They do what they're told. But let's be real here. There are crooked judges. There are crooked court systems. There are crooked cops. There are crappy neighbors. And there are people who eavesdrop. Yes, eavesdrop. Which is at the very least a state offense. But gang stalkers think they are above the law. In fact, they will use the crooked police. They'll use the landlords, the other neighbors, the cable company, utility workers, and so on to try to get you into legal trouble. If they can't break you in other ways, like getting you to hurt yourself. If you feel suicidal, stop. My goodness, gang stalkers are downright comical. Don't be your own worst enemy. The greatest adversary against you is you and your attitudes. You're not a victim. You're in control. It may not seem like that, but you are. But if you're relinquishing control, then you're allowing them to upset you. Why bother? You do have to develop a thick skin. See, I could care less what other people think about me. I'd be lying if I said I never cared. I mean, I used to care. But in the end of the day, other people don't pay your bills. And since I was slammed after the Milwaukee case, I got tougher. And guess what? People don't like that either, especially since I'm a woman. And I'll be your own... Wait, It will be your own attitude about things that controls whether you create your own prison. Really. What people want for you is to kowtow to them. Get it yet? Besides, kowtowing to them means you're also a gang stalker and weak, pathetic individual that they can recruit for their future projects. Are you of a weak constitution? Do you have an unethical character? Are you a piece of junk? Realize in the end it doesn't matter whether you're soft or loud, nice or mean, etc., etc. Over here it's noise disturbances that they falsely accuse me of. But see, it doesn't matter whether I'm loud or soft, as will be discussed shortly, because I'm not loud. People just listen to what I'm saying over here, and they use that pretext or an excuse to harass me, and it led to illegal wiretapping anyway. I'm not loud. People just don't like hearing what I have to say. Don't mind their business, and they're up in my stuff. They're envious, or they think that I should be able to say what they decide I can say. I better tell you something else. I'm an extremely strong believer in privacy rights, and more importantly, the United States Constitution, including the Second Amendment. Right to own, bear arms. The First Amendment is the right to free speech, and the Fourth Amendment, the right from free, unreasonable searches and seizures. Warrant is a requirement. Absolutely. In my opinion, I live in the best country in the world because of these rights, and I have as a United States citizen. There are people that don't like that, believe me. There are people who will attempt to curtail your right to own a gun, the right to say what you want, and the right to your privacy in the place you live. My attitude is, then go live in China. If you don't want to own a gun, you don't have to. But don't tell others they can't. If you don't want to say certain things because you think it's disrespectful or rude, then don't. Don't tell others they can't. If you want strangers coming into your house, the police, without a warrant, go right ahead. But don't tell the rest of us that it's okay. Save your money, hopefully, that you have. Hopefully you've saved something for an emergency, because you may well damn need it. It's not too late if you've got the gumption to get up and work, and even sell your plasma if you need to leave the situation. Do internet work. I also hope you have at least one person that can actually trust, that is willing to help you, because the advice I will eventually give you will require a strong attitude, money, good health, one good and honest, trustworthy person with an open attitude that is on your side. My advice will give you money-saving tips. Understand that I'm available to help you legally in non-legal ways. And also, if you need emotional support, I am available to talk to you. But please remember that legal services aren't cheap. They aren't cheap anywhere. I will offer you cheaper ways to deal with your defeat.